What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of my Instagram on YouTube series. Today, I want to talk about a post I made regarding patience. And I believe it was Rumi, the 13th century Muslim scholar, don't quote me on that, who said that desire makes kings slaves out of kings and patience makes kings out of slaves. I wanted to write about this because the road of entrepreneurship had humbled me. It Things took a lot longer and continue to take a lot longer than I probably would have originally imagined. And in writing this, I was just trying to remind myself that this is a lesson that I need to learn because earlier in my life, I was more caught up in the obsession of speed. You know, how quickly you can learn something, how quickly you can accomplish something. It was a reflection of how competent and how hardworking, how amazing, whatever that I was. Also, being part of an entrepreneurial coaching company and being around American entrepreneurs, there's definitely this obsession with speed, of moving fast, of being the fastest growing company, things like that. Whereas, I heard somewhere that whereas Americans focus on how quickly you can grow, the Japanese or Asian companies tend to focus on how long you can stay in business. And as someone who's kind of got one foot in each world, in each door, so to speak, I realized this was a lesson that I needed to learn about consistency, about patience, of perseverance, of surrendering, of trading expectation for appreciation, and one more word. I forgot. But this is how I'm choosing to see it. And at the end of the day, all I can believe is that everything is meant to happen and to find the most empowering meaning out of whatever situation it is in life. And so it also reminds me of uh, Tasha's Tasha's stand up, in which he jokes about like Justin Bieber at 21 being a billionaire. He's basically saying, and I'm going to butcher it, that he's glad, or that like you can't expect a 21-year-old with that kind of money to not do something a little bit insane. Like, he jokes about if he was 21 and had that kind of money, he would be roller skating down Santa Monica naked and like jerking off on to random people, something like that. I don't remember. The point being that it's sometimes a blessing in disguise, the things that happen to us. And for me personally, I kind of agree. Like, I do appreciate the time that it has taken me to plant my roots, to establish my grounding, and to slowly figure this stuff out. Because I do have high hopes and visions for who I can be, how I can serve, all this stuff. And if I don't have myself situated, then I would have been much more liable to make mistakes, just like a lot of the young athletes or you know TikTok stars or movie stars or musicians or whatever, who get a lot of fame and a lot of money at a very young age and kind of are a little bit overwhelmed because they don't have the support structure and the maturity to necessarily deal with that. So I'm grateful that at 31 I still am pretty much anonymous. And so as I continue to build my brand and grow, I have much more of a solid footing in terms of understanding who I am and understanding people, and et cetera, et cetera. So the advice that I heard from some money podcasts was to be impatient with actions, but patient with results. And in both the Bible and in Islam, they talk about, in Islam, there's a word called sabir. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm trying to incorporate different religions to show that they're ultimately all very similar. And sabir means endurance, perseverance, and persistence. And in the Bible, it talks about in Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And so you see in these religious texts a lot of focus and emphasis placed on staying patient and staying persistent and trusting in the process. The slight edge I talk about a lot of doing, doing the right things every day and letting the effects compound. So again, this was just a piece that I wrote on because I felt that I needed to remind myself of that message as I was going through, this journey of creating something. And I'm sharing with you because, maybe you need to hear this as well or be reminded of it. There may be something in your life that is taking longer than you expected, or you're having doubts about a certain path, a certain direction. And this is just a sign or a message to let you know that it's okay to take a break and to stop and reflect on, whether, what is the lesson, and what specifically do you need to do or change, if not, or not going forward. Sometimes if something's not working out, it's important to take a tactical pause and reflect and be like, okay, I might need to make a pivot in a certain direction, you know. Um, and I think we all have to be honest with ourselves of whether, we just sometimes give up too early. And so I encourage you to take that pause and that reflection, um, and to just don't give up and to be patient. Um, Also, I will say that, a lot of these texts and this wisdom from the past, this was back when people had to really be patient. I mean, I watched like the animated movie about Joseph last night, and he was wrongfully imprisoned, I guess, for I don't know how many years, but our ancestors, they had to be really patient for decades, often for certain things, and time is definitely sped up for us nowadays. And even to be able to like create your own business, let's say in 4 years, it's incredible, right? So in terms of our relationship to time, we can do things quicker now than ever before. And so I think I also suspect that our definition of patience has changed. For some of our ancestors, when things moved super slowly and it took like a lifetime to cross the United States, patience was just their definition of patience was like wait 20 years, you know. Whereas now patience is like wait 6 months or a year. So definitely, I think our relationship to time and to what it means to be patient has changed. And I think this thought also gives me comfort because it helps me realize that, you know, I'm all I have to do is show a fraction of the patience that other people have shown in greater adversity and hardships and challenges. So again, I hope this message finds you well. If you feel like connecting, if you resonate with if what I say resonates with you, I am continuing to improve on uh, my delivery. And thank you again if you've watched this far. I will see you in the next video.